Although the Toronto Maple Leafs finished dead last in Mike Babcock's first year behind the bench, there was more to the season than meets the eye. The Leafs were able to pump and dump Ryan Phaneuf and his expensive, long-term contract. That alone is a massive feat. The Marlets had a regular season for the ages, even if they did not go as far in the playoffs as many had envisioned. Most importantly, they were able to draft Auston Matthews first overall. Positive steps were taken on the ice as well, despite the lackluster overall results. A long-time possession bottom feeder, the team moved to the middle of the pack in terms of controlling play, 13th in Corsi for percentage, 17th in Fenwick for percentage. I previously outlined Babcock's breakout systems to help identify and explain the mechanics of their improvement. Today, I am going to take a deeper look at the Leafs' power play pages. Although they ultimately ranked 27th, I believe the units were a lot better than their ranking, and that Babcock and power play coach Jim Hiller were able to put some building blocks in place for future success. Let's take a look at some more detailed numbers in order to paint a more complete picture. Stacked War League rank: overall power play proficiency 27th, power play goals tied for 22nd with 3 other teams, power play shooting percentage 29th, power play time on ice 8th, total shots on goal 7th, shots for percentage 4th, Corsi for percentage 3rd, Corsi 1st. The Leafs did a great job at controlling play, centering the zone cleanly, and generating shots. From a coaching standpoint, these are the areas the staff can actually control. Coaches will primarily focus on face-offs, breakout and defensive zone setups. All these things generate what's above. In order for pages to be successful, there are 3 key areas. The last factor, talent, is obviously the reason why the Leafs were unproductive on the pages last season. When P.A. Parento leads the team in overall pages time on ice and Peter Holland is 4th, there's not really much else to say. For this reason, I think it's largely fruitless to spend a lot of time dissecting what the Leafs were actually doing while inside the offensive zone. The talent wasn't there, and they also lacked good point shots. Really generated 24 pages shots in about 150 minutes, while Gardner generated just 21 in nearly 184. That's not enough, and teams didn't respect the units with their coverage on purpose because of it. Instead, we are going to focus on the Leafs' pages breakout and how they move up the ice. This will largely set the tone for the pages, and it is an area they can build on going into next season. Between Kadri, Americ, JVR, really, Gardner and the pages ice time Nylander saw at the end of 2015-16, all of these players figure to receive, at a minimum, second unit pages time next season and possibly beyond. As Toronto runs 4 forward on the power play, that means a lot of responsibility on the breakout for one defenseman. He is the undisputed quarterback going up the ice. What really and Gardner lacks in their shots, they make up for in spades with their skating. This helps not only puck retrieval, but it makes them puck carriers opponents have to respect. If they don't, the 2 young defenders can rip up the ice and set up the zone with ease. It is no secret that Babcock's Red Wings teams loved to use the draw pass pages breakout and basically trademarked it at one point. Goals like this from Pavel Datsyuk and this from Henrik Zetterberg are great examples. At its height, the smarts of Nicklas Lidstrom and Brian Rafalski as quarterbacks coupled with elite skills of Datsyuk and Zetterberg in their primes were a pretty ridiculous combination. Here were their overall success rates. Season pages ranked 2005 to 2006, first 2006 to 2007, 28th 2007 to 2008, third 2008 to 2009, first 2009 to 2010, 10th 2010 to 2011, fourth 2011 to 2012, 22nd 2012 to 2013, 12th 2013 to 2014, 18th 2014 to 2015, second overtime. Babcock expanded the draw pass play as teams started to catch on. Originally, it featured one man skating up ice and backing off the neutral zone forecheck before dropping into a teammate in full flight who was able to easily step by flat-footed defenders. As teams began to adjust, Babcock added a swing pass. The player receiving the drop pass could use this option in case the team reads the play correctly. The Zetterberg goal above is a great example. He has since implemented a 2-man drop pass to give the original puck carrier more options now that basically every team guards against that play. The video below is a great example. Really leads the play up ice and Kadri swings from the outside wall to the middle behind him. Because of Really's speed, he is able to back up the forecheck. When he does, he drops it back to Kadri, who has gathered speed and is carrying the puck against forwards who have stepped up in the neutral zone and cannot skate with him. Usually this would include a double swing of forwards so that Kadri can skate up with two forwards. Even though Sajnikovic is late, he recognizes the play and drops back to give Kadri a passing option. That sets up the five-man options in the neutral zone the Leafs are looking for. The puck carrier has options depending on the structure of the neutral zone forecheck. When we freeze the progression here, we can see the ideal situation that the Leafs are looking for. The drop pass has been completed, the puck carrier has possession, and a teammate on the other side of the ice is in line with him as a safety valve pass option/decoy. The two wingers are on the boards, spacing out the defenseman, stretching the far side defenseman in particular. That leaves two penalty-killing forwards to protect the middle of the ice, playing defense without much speed. Below is another similar breakout against Anaheim. Bozak is actually the first player back to grab the puck before Reilly swoops in to collect it with speed and set up the same breakout. He once again skates up the ice with speed, backing off the forecheck. Kadri has multiple options and elects to pass it to the wing. They can set it up clean or make a play. They decide to make a play, and even though it doesn't work, they have enough numbers in the zone to retrieve the puck again and set it up properly. The Leafs later scored on this play. As mentioned, Reilly and Gardner's speed is something opponents have to respect, particularly on this drop pass breakout. Later on in the same game, Anaheim plays the drop pass and Reilly skates right by it with ease to gain the zone. Even though Brown misplays the puck, they have enough speed and numbers to put pressure, retrieve it again, and set it up. The Leafs tie the game with under 5 minutes left. Here is another example of a team, Tampa Bay, selling out on it with their first forechecker. He goes right Reilly to block the pass, leaving three flat-footed Oilers lined up across the blue line, and the Leafs wingers do a good job of stretching the two defensemen outside to basically create the 1v1 situation between Reilly and a forward standing still. Similar to football, sometimes you have to throw a few deep balls to open things up and keep the opponent guessing. The two-punch drop pass game plan is what the Leafs primarily build their breakout around. Either Reilly/Gardner is able to back off the forecheck with speed before dropping it to a forward to skate in, or B, the opponent plays the drop pass and Reilly/Gardner try to skate it in clean, or C, Reilly/Gardner skates it in as far as he can before passing to one of the wingers on the wall. Everyone has a role. It is not overly complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Some teams implement a minimum of 5 different breakouts and never use the same one twice in the same power play. For Toronto, was this punch and counter-punch combo, it's largely unnecessary. Teams can't play both, and the penalty killer's gaps can't make up the difference for the speed of the quarterbacks and the drop pass. When the breakout breaks down is when the player leading the rush makes the wrong read like this. I suspect the staff will add more layers to their breakout over time, as their group matures. When they weren't breaking out with a drop pass setup, something the Leafs did a lot more of this season as opposed to the previous few is regroup when opponents jammed up the neutral zone and limited their space. Here is a good example against Dallas after a neutral zone clear. The Leafs run the pretty standard B to center plane, and Kadri looks to turn the corner of ice. He identifies that he is likely to be angled off and sends it back to regroup again. As the puck swings across the ice, pay attention to Kadri. He takes a strike inside as if he is going to shoot up the middle gap for a pass from Gardner before going outside. At the same time, Brad Boyes, who is at the top of the screen, skates across the blue line to attract attention. That leaves Kadri wide open on the far side swing for an easy entry. He drew another page just seconds after. In the next video, Kadri knows he's going to get squeezed out and sends it back to the D again to maintain possession, allowing the Leafs to move up the ice methodically. Here is a more conventional breakout developing, with Famulus behind the net. He passes to Kadri, who started in the middle of the ice and swung to the boards. Amarek is the high man at the far blue line opening up the ice. Froze swings low like Kadri did, except he skates all the way up the ice, while JVR actually drops to the middle to provide a safety valve. The conventional breakout of a swinging forward getting the puck up the wall with speed in the defensive zone before taking it up ice is something the Leafs like to mix in. Here's another example with P.A. Parento against Calgary. Because the Leafs do primarily run for forwards on the pages, we can see a situation that generally occurs. They are attacking the blue line as a unit, supplying the puck carrier with lots of options and giving the defense fits. Froese is able to pick up the puck with space, gain the line, curl back, and set up. Amerik scores on the play a few moments after this video ends. Moving into next season, it will be interesting to monitor how Babcock and his staff build their pages units. At the end of last season, generally he was not handing top pages time to any of the kids coming up even though they were better options. Oftentimes, Nylander and company were getting second unit pages time. James Van Riemsdyk is a legitimate first-line scoring winger and net presence. He seems to be a lock to stand in front of the net on the top unit. From there, it is anyone's guess. Will the pages run through Nazem Kadri on the half wall, or Austin Matthews, or William Nylander, or dare I say Mitch Marner? Who will quarterback the pages? If Nicky decides and turns into the player management seems to think he can be, having a big right-handed shot play a two-man game at the point and half wall with Matthews or Kadri seems ideal. Or will it be one of Freely or Gardner, who we know can lead the breakout and set up the pages nicely? All those players figure to be on one of the two units. That still leaves space for some other players as well. Tyler Bozak is a productive pages player and face-off man, which we know Babcock values. He figures to be involved in some fashion. Last season, Leo Amerik was a favorite and is an effective net presence as well. It would be a little surprising if he didn't get some man advantage time, too. There are also questions about which kids are going to make the team. What about Connor Brown, Nikita Sachnikov, and Zach Hyman? I expect that Babcock will build two units early on and work with them for a certain amount of time to see what works and what doesn't. The units will be organized and generate chances, but it might take some mixing and matching to find the right handedness and skill set combination before the Leafs pages is ultimately productive.